I think Ray's on our side here. I think we got her. I think we're in. And I think we'll be able to kind of make things work a little bit more together, and we can coordinate some things, and we can work to fight all these angels, and then we can kind of bring somebody else into the fold that Shinji kind of has around him that probably will grow care for him, that he can be close to and have a normal life and relationship and stuff with, and hopefully all that makes him kind of happier as a person. Ray, hopefully she becomes happier as a person as a result of having somebody else now in her life that actually cares for her, and there's people just around her, you know, she has things and it's not like she has nothing. So hopefully with all these developments and things going forward here, it means good news for our characters. I'm interested to see how that goes. If you like it all, hit the like and subscribe. Do mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments with this particular series. Let's go on with episode 7. Such a crazy room to be in, dude. Okay. The boy. Oh my god. Mouth wide. First thing in the morning. No, for most people that's not. Yeah. Is it? Right. Now it makes sense. And I'm your guardian. Yeah, it's to look after you. Oh, can't tell him that, can I? Yep. First reading the paper. Oh, but I didn't even get to see her. But just hearing that from her. Another one? Oh my god. Absolutely. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's just someone. Oh, okay. Wow. All just hanging out like that. You guys don't know how she actually is. Sure, do what you want. There you go. Nice. Question that a bit. It's like the shell of you. You're just living on the inside. So much. It's so complicated. But I have a bad feeling. Oh no. How are you the only one on here? We're sharing this flight. There's only the two of us on this big ass plane. Unit 6? Okay, so they get a lot of moving parts.
私もセカンドインパクトの二の舞はごめんですからね。
質量隕石の落下による大
Oh, we're just gonna rewrite history.
が往々にして隠蔽されるものなのよ。
When it was actually
15
the
年
angels
前
showing
人
up.
類は最初の人と呼称する人型の物体を南極で発見したの。予想されうるサードインパクトを未然に防
So
ぐ。
we're
そ
protected
のため
it,
に
yeah.
ネルフとエヴァンゲリオンなの。
Well, there you go. You got your answer, buddy.
ところであれ、予定通り明日やるそうよ。わかったわ。
Start the day the same way. Repeat. Oh. A big change. He can't believe it either.
仕事で旧東京まで行ってくるわ。多分帰りは遅いからなんか出張って。じゃ。
Complete change. Different shift in attitude and everything.
何もこんなところでやらなくてもいいのに。で、その計画、戦時は絡んでるの？
戦略自衛隊？
SSDF.
いえ、介入は認められ。
Glad they showed that and explained it.
これはご高名な赤木律子博士。
Of course you got a
お越しいただき
question.
光栄の至りです。
質問をよろしいでしょうか。どうとありますが。
ええ、本機の大きな特徴です。連続150日間の作戦行動が保証されております。
Damn.
しかし、格闘戦を前提とした陸戦兵器に
Yeah, probably a problem.
が大きすぎると思われますが、
for who?
動かない決戦兵器よりは役に立つと思いますよ。
遠隔操縦では緊急対処に問題を残します。
パイロットに負担をかけ、精神汚染を起こすよりはより人道的と考えます。
し
Yeah.
なさいよ、大人げない。
Yeah.
制御できない兵器など全くのナンセンスです。
Yeah.
ミステリーを起こした女性と同じです。
Okay.
手に負えません。ものに頼っているからネルフは先のような暴走を許すんですよ。その結果、国連は莫大な追加予算を迫られ、
Okay.
報告では2万人を超える餓死者を出そうとしているんです。ネルフが超法規的に保護されている。あなた方はその責任を取らずに済みますから。
なんとおっしゃられようと、ネルフの主力兵器以外、あの敵生体は倒せません。
AT フィールドですか？それも今では時間の問題に過ぎません。いつまでもネルフの時代ではありませんよ。
I'm just trying to clown on her. My God.
よしなさいよ、大人げない。
Yeah.
自分を自慢し、褒めて
give
もらえ
give
た
her
ら
line back, Liz.
大した男じゃない。
Wow.
でもなんであいつらが AT フィールドまで知ってんのよ。
極秘情報がダダ漏れね。
Yeah.
情報部は何やってんのかしら。
Yeah, things aren't as straightforward as they seem. Actually, they've never seemed straightforward, so that doesn't, that doesn't matter. I just feel like things are gonna go horribly wrong here.
移速、右足前。了解。
Like the thing can move on its own. Yeah, we have ones that can move on their own too, if we're being honest.
ちゃんと歩いてる。自慢するだけのことはあるよね。
どうした？
変です。リアクターの内圧が上昇していきます。一時冷却水の温度も上昇中。バルブ開放。減速剤を注入。ダメです。ポンプの出力が上がります。
Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, fuck.
動力緊急停止。
Until it doesn't work. Yep. Overtakes on its
制御
own.
不能。
Well,
そんなバカな。
yeah. Berserk. Well. I didn't realize how heavy the top side was.
作った人に似て礼儀知らずなロボットね。
It's always the overly confident, cocky guys who are just wrong.
想定し、すべてに対処すべくプログラムは組まれているのに。
How could this be? How did this happen?
だけど今、現にロシン誘拐の危機が迫っているのよ。
Just face the fact that it did happen and figure out what to do now.
自動停止の確率は
Oh my god.
まさに奇跡です。
奇跡を待つより捨て身の努力よ。停止手段を教えなさい。
デリートは最高機密。私の管轄外だ。公害の権限はない。
だったら命令をもらいなさい。今すぐ。
私
Listen, we had a bit of a problem.
重要な決定事項は口頭ではね、正式に書簡で回してもらえる。
Bro's on his vacation.
吉沢さんの許可を取ればよろしいんですね。ウィッツ氏の承諾は得てお
Bro, actually, we got all the time in the world. Yeah.
命令書が届く。作業は正式なものだ。
そんな間に合わないわ。
Yeah.
爆発してからじゃ何もかも遅いのよ。
Oh, that shit's moving at speed, too.
みんな火つけといたからシンジ君と初号機を F 装備でこっちによこして。そう、緊急事態。
無駄よ。
That's so...
桂木一。
あ
第一どうやって止めるつもりなの？
We're gonna use
人間の手
Shinji.
で直接。
Yeah. We're dropping him in. Oh, she's got a suit on,
物質
though.
が充満している。危険すぎる。
うまくいけばみんな助かります。
Yeah.
から内部に侵入できます。
I appreciate you guys.
希望。
You're not like the other.
プログラム消去のパスワードだ。
You couldn't have thought of something more difficult? I could have guessed that.
何ですか？美里さんが？そうよ。そんな無茶な。無茶は承知よ。他にベターな方法がないの。でも危なすぎますよ。
Oh, how sweet of you caring for others.
やれるわ。じゃなくて、美里さんが。
Yeah.
ま、やれることやっとかないとね。
Somebody's gotta do this.
後味悪いでしょ。
Yeah. It's a hell of a line to give the boy. Where are we dropping, fellas?
ロッキングアウト。
That's so cool. Bro's got some strong knees being able to withstand that. Alright, we got some speed too. Oh, we're catching up too. That's a really cool shot.
追いついた。あと4分もないわ。このまま乗りつけて。
Look how like loose its arms are. Oh, he's pull that shit. It's like having a backpack on and grabbing it by the back.
やって。
Oh no.
美里さん。気をつけて。
Don't worry, we're good.
美里さん、急いで。ここね。
I love the blurring effect and everything here to make you feel the pressure and the heat from the inside. Hope. What if it's wrong? What if it's wrong? Oh fuck.
もうが書いてあるんだわ。
Oh fuck. What do you do now? Just eject her and take it out yourself? Well, you can't because it's gonna explode. What the? Push.
爆発します。
ダメか。
Oh no. Oh.
すべて正常位置。
Why are you smiling? Nah. I don't fuck with that guy.
やったやったやった。
あのバカ。
So happy about that. Awesome.
すごいや。僕見直しちゃいました。本当に奇跡は起きたんですね。ええ。奇跡は用意されていたのよ。誰かに。
桂木1位の行動以外は全てシナリオ通りです。
ご苦労。
Third time. Run it back. Back to normal? Alright. Bro is not fucking happy.
やっぱかっこええな。
Bro literally just hears her voice and he's like, I love her.
うちの中じゃみっともないよ。ほんとズボラだし、かっこ悪いし、つかずくだらしないし。見てるこっちが恥ずかしいよ。
羨ましいな、それって。
Do you even have somebody like that?
やっぱ、いいかりってお子様なやつ。ほんまやな。
どうして？
他人の俺たちには見せない本当の姿だろ。それって家族じゃないか。
Aw, what a smile. But he gained something today. This episode goes out of his way and becomes a lot more politically focused, I would say, and a lot more of the organizations and the schemes and things going on within the background of what people's intentions really are, of the characters who we've seen slight things of and maybe not understood much of, and we still really don't understand much of, but give you a stronger direction as to where almost they're kind of thinking, and what their position and their plans almost are within the entirety, it seems like, of this entire situation here. And it leaves you questioning a lot of things, claiming Nerve, that being the ones claiming that they need to be the saviors in a way of humanity and in the creation of their Evas, and the way that they're trying to kind of go about things is for the benefit of all and for the people and stuff, but at the same time seeming like they do have their own intentions and their own plans, and why they're so solely focused on this in as opposed to working together with others and creating some sort of thing or organization in some sort of way to actually go out of their way and protect and combine knowledge and information and all these things. And instead they're just like, nah, we don't need anybody else around, we're going to do this on our own, which makes you kind of question what they kind of believe. Not we're the only ones who can do this, but we're the only ones who need to do this because we need the money and we need all this stuff to kind of develop the things that we want to, which probably isn't in the primary interest of all humanity, but for what it would actually be that Shinji's father is kind of aiming for, and what their primary goals are, is what I don't really understand. And that's okay, I believe, because that's probably things that'll be, you know, talked about and developed throughout the series, is that'll probably be our overall plot line that we're kind of following here. But it is interesting to see the mystery elements almost that are starting to kind of come involved and become more and more apparent as we progress along here. And I think that's the entire aspect of like what was trying to be developed throughout this episode and showcased, while being able to be like, we'll throw in like some cool fight scenes and these other things, like just these like very tense moments and stuff for you to kind of witness. And it does actually, it's actually interesting, because I think throughout the episode I was like wondering where we were really going and what we were doing, but the more I reflect on it now that I'm just thinking about like the stuff that happened, it does a really good job at creating like such a little well put together like story and thing that happens in like such a short span of time again, and actually developing our characters a lot, and developing, you know, the way that a lot of them see each other, or the way that they think, and also giving us lots of information about what people's intentions are, the way that they kind of view others, and the way that they're what they're after and everything. Like, so it does a really good job at kind of forcing all of that stuff almost into one episode, and laying it all out like right in front of you, which I think is cool. Essentially though, I think everything that occurred here was Nerve kind of getting note of all these other organizations and these groups and stuff kind of going out of their way and creating their own units, and not wanting that to be the case, because if other people are working on these things and other people are progressing and possibly going past them, or doing these things that are so much more which is better than what they're actually doing, it causes problems for their own group, right? We have the meeting where we end up talking about, oh, you just want to keep throwing these children in there and completely like messing with their brains and, you know, ruining them and doing all this, like this awful stuff that can cause them to become mentally unstable and all that, as your pilots, when instead we're out here and we're progressing further than that, and we're developing these things that can operate on their own, through use of like whatever else, and we can actually allow these things to kind of be better for us, because we don't need to find these compatible pilots. We don't need to find people that we can put in risk of their own lives. We don't need like all of these things, and trying to present all these positive and good points, and things that, you know, if you go public with all this information and the stuff that you're trying to develop and the things that you're trying to do, you'll definitely have more backing support if you're not actually risking as many lives. Of course, there are trade-offs, such as using like the nuclear stuff that they were talking about and all that, right? So there's good and bad things towards what they're trying to ultimately do, but at the end of the day, competition is always important, and it's like an excellent thing to kind of have within any sort of space, and you kind of want to see that because it pushes others to kind of drive further and do these things. Instead though, Nerve just says, no, we're not going to develop our things to be stronger or better or in any sort of way, or we're not going to do this, we're just going to figure out how to kind of like hack in and get all your information. and go out of our way and basically just destroy your company for what it is and their public image and just absolutely allow you to have no backing or anything. And it's like really fucked up, but I mean, it worked at the end of the day. So yeah, so they go in, I'm assuming, so Nerve's been having a lot of information and things leaked, which is not good for them because it allows their rivals and others to gain information of like the stuff that they're kind of working with and a whole bunch of just other things that they are aware of that they don't want these other groups to now be aware of, causing them to have better development of whatever systems and stuff that they're trying to create. We end up getting this one that gets created throughout this, and we go to see this testing, you know, and showcasing it to everybody else about this great thing that this company's come together with. But Nerve doesn't really want them to be successful in this. So what happens is they go through, they hack into their system in some sort of way, I'm assuming, and they create some plan that allows this thing that isn't supposed to go rogue or have like any of these issues just completely like break free and you know, go past all of its code and everything and just work and operate on its own, and become its own being. So similar to how we were seeing the Avas end up becoming berserk and do all this stuff. And I'm assuming a lot of that is because they're made up of similar makeup in a way, to the point that Nerve is kind of aware of what happens when they end up going into those states and why that stuff actually ends up happening. And they're probably well aware of that. Well, we're not still aware of it as the viewers, to the point that they can actually go in and overwrite things in a way that allows for that to occur once again here. And then they're also probably aware of a way to make it stop when they need to make it stop, or how that stuff occurs, which ultimately we get to see creates the stopping point for it. In the middle of all that, though, we get to see Misato's heroics and the way that she goes through and you know, attacks this situation, which I think is pretty cool. And it made for like a really intense moment, and it gives her a lot of development. It gives us a lot of development as well on Shinji's part in the way that he kind of views her and he sees her. And a lot of like really good stuff kind of came out of those moments. I'm assuming at the end when she tries to put in the code and it's wrong, it could be a variety of like, this code isn't correct. It never was to begin with, or maybe it was, and then through the getting into the system of Nerve, they kind of hack in and change the stuff so that they're the only ones who have actual control over it. And I'm assuming at the end, no matter what Masato ended up doing, it didn't matter. And Nerve is probably the ones that like remotely were controlling what was going to occur here and were able to put a stop to it on their own. That's kind of the assumption that I'm under here. But it seems like that was their plan all along, and this is their plan without involving Misato at all, which we also get revealed to us, which is pretty cool. Because I mean, it's been obvious through the meetings and stuff that's been presented to us before that they are working on a bunch of other projects and things that they're trying to keep hidden, and they need funding for, and they need all of this stuff. So in this moment, we end up getting to see that they have no intentions of allowing anybody else to get all this funding, so they need all of that stuff for themselves. So we're creating this big spectacle basically where everybody's like on display watching this creation completely fail, and then of course Nerve's the one who steps in with their own unit and has to put a stop to it, and then even Misato jumps in and she helps us save it and everything. So for them, it looks, on the bigger picture, like it looks like, oh, we're saving the world once again and we're doing all these great things. So of course more people are going to start backing them and putting more faith and trust in them for being able to accomplish like such a thing. So of course it would make sense that if they could remotely operate this thing, that they would end up stopping it at a point before basically things went bad and it caused the explosions and everything and complete destruction basically, which would have been a really bad thing. But I'm pretty happy with, I think, the way that stuff kind of turned out, and the way that we develop things a little bit. They do mention, or they don't mention it, but it's noted at least, or we can note at least, that Misato is definitely not involved in the scenarios and stuff with the few other members that they're kind of showcasing, and who actually has all this information and knowledge of these secret projects and the things that they're trying to do, and what they were trying to set up here in this situation and all that other stuff. So there's a reason for that, which I'd assume would be because of how unpredictable almost she was in this moment. I mean, we talk about, we weren't expecting her to do what she ended up doing. And then, you know, that makes sense. If you have somebody like that who you can't really predict their patterns and behaviors and don't know exactly what they're going to do at any given moment, you can't really just jump out of there and be like, all right, we're going to trust this person to be involved with us and help us out in these scenarios. So of course you have to kind of stay hidden almost and keep a lot of the things that are occurring to be secret. But also, if you have a good enough read on the person, still, you know that they're going to act out in this sort of manner, and you know that they're going to try and do something along these lines, which will ultimately be more beneficial to you as well, even if you don't tell them the situation that's kind of at hand here. Because also, if you reveal things and they're there for evil intentions, they could be for good intentions. I find that hard to believe. But if they are for like evil intentions, you're not going to want to reveal it to a person who openly would probably fight against that. So I don't know. This is such a crazy location for them just to put him in the dead middle of this massive room. Like, that's so crazy. The designs on the ceiling and everything really, really cool. We find out basically we're getting some falsified information and documents and stuff being kind of sent over as a way of, like, I think the leaks and everything that I was talking about kind of coming through, and as a way of allowing others to think that they have more info on things that they actually do, which is kind of what it seems like is the case. And I could be wrong there. There could actually be somebody who's like putting through and like leaking all this information and stuff that we're still not aware of and we have to be cautious of. But I'm assuming that they're intentionally kind of giving over, or handing over and doing these things. So I guess even upon further reflection, they may have not even hacked into it and done anything. They may have just written things out and put things and information within the documents and stuff that was kind of leaked through that this other organization got a hold of that caused this thing to go rogue in this moment. So they were kind of well aware of the situations at hand and what was going to occur. It could also, I guess, be a thing that occurs. I can't believe how big they draw her mouth in this moment, but basically it wakes up a complete mess the way that she starts her day, completely carefree and everything. And at this moment, Shinji starts, you know, calling her out and messing with her a little bit. Of course, she's so happy. We have the parent-teacher conference in a way, so she's our acting guardian, of course. So she's going to come to the school at some point. I love these two getting so excited over her, even though they never even get to see her and they only hear her voice. Shinji's very happy, though. He's able to, you know, him and his friends kind of go to school and everything, or Masato's happy at least being able to see it like that. She arrives in style. Of course, everybody's looking at her and losing their shit. He doesn't even understand the whole situation at all. And he's like, oh, you guys just don't even get it. You don't even know the type of person that she really is or anything. Which comes full circle at the end, which I think is really, really cool. The fact that we have like a whole plan here, literally just for like 2 people, is fucking insane. But basically this guy shows up, starts dropping a lot of information and letting us know about like the different projects and the plans for things and how they're kind of working out, struggling to find the other pilot and the thing that they need, I'm assuming, for the development of whatever Ava is that they're working on now, which would likely end up being their second unit. We get a lot of backstory and learning a lot of stuff about the second impact and the way that things happen and the falsified information that kind of came through, believing that it was like some sort of meteorite in these things, but instead it was the beginning of the angels and everything kind of coming through, causing the massive issues and stuff that are occurring. I think in that other conversation too, they also talk about the idea of like different units and stuff, and they call it like unit 6 and 8 and stuff. So there's like a bunch of things that are being developed in the background that we're not even aware of in those moments, which I think is really interesting. And they're things that literally might not be developed or talked about for like certain episodes at a time, but because they are mentioned and hinted here, you have to like understand that there are plenty of things that are being developed slowly through the backgrounds that they're trying to keep hidden and they're working on for their overall plans of things that aren't maybe presented to us as much. Masato shows up, completely different attire and stuff. I like the 3 different skits we do with replaying the same exact morning routines almost, and having her open the door where it's like she's a certain way and then she's acting a different way here because she's in a different situation entirely, and her mindset and everything so different. And then the moment we get to the end, and of course she can be carefree in her normal self again, and how we kind of flash through all of those, I think, work extremely well. We basically get to the celebration of the JA completion and the ceremony and all this, and there's a bunch of people here. We get into an argument with this guy basically over, you know, the rights and wrongs and people using certain things in combat, of course, each of them calling each other out on certain things that they both do probably not as well as the other group entirely, of course. So it makes plenty of sense there. This is where all the accusations and stuff kind of come off. This guy, you know, very smug in the way that he's acting, but her as well, I guess, at the end of the day. And of course, we learn by the end how involved she's going to probably be going forward on a lot of these different situations regarding nerve. So it is interesting. I love Masato getting angry here, and then both of them, after the line that she already gave her about looking childish, and that she receives it back, which I think is really cool. We end up burning the file. Of course, she has that little smirk on her face because she knows exactly what she's doing in this moment. The moment this thing comes out, things are not pretty at all, as things completely fall apart and it goes rogue, the opposite of what is basically expected in this moment. Masato instantly takes charge and she's like, I have to do this. I have to be the one who like does this. We can't just sit around and we can't just let people like die and cause any of this like harm. Of course, like showing that sense of justice almost that she has. She's not even involved in or in on the plan at all of what they're trying to do and, you know, making themselves look better. She's literally just looking out for the better of other people. Of course, you know, the typical political ladder that you got to kind of go through here, and you have to go through like 80 different people to be able to get authorization for the things that you end up needing. So it's a complete mess and how long it ends up taking. I love her being able to go into action here, as opposed to just kind of sitting on the sideline and letting like Shinji go and just operating it like that, but instead is willing to jump in firsthand, kind of get her hands dirty here in this process. We end up figuring out that Hope's the password. I'm sure it is, buddy. That would be the easiest thing one of the easiest things for you to be able to figure out, but of course it'll be the thing that works if we're able to get in. We brief Shinji on the whole situation, what's happening. He can't believe it that she's going in, and this is where like a lot of the good development and stuff kind of comes, I think, for him, and realization on his part of understanding, basically. Also, I guess on Masato's part of like realizing that he like actually really cares for her and stuff, and he's like doesn't want her to like risk her life or anything in these moments. But also it is on his part of him actually showing care for these other people, not wanting others to risk their lives in these moments either. So he definitely thinks of her highly, and he definitely has grown fond of her, which is very obvious here in this moment. She had a really good line. What is it? I'm not seeing it, but I'm pretty sure it was in this conversation, and she tells him about like how she would rather end up, you know, she gives this her best shot, and she'd rather end up putting a stop to this or taking that charge and making that attempt to actually do it, rather than having to look back later and regret that she didn't take action in that exact moment, which could be like a really big turning point for him too, and a realization almost of like, I do have this special ability that nobody else can, and also like there's these other people who won't hesitate to take charge when lives are being risked. So of course, like you can kind of look up to them almost in inspiration, which I think is really cool. Us dropping this from the sky is fucking insane, and of course having to run after it, being able to ultimately catch up, and I think it's like a really cool sequence of dropping her in, her being able to get inside this thing. They do a good job at like really displaying how the heat is kind of affecting her in this moment. The error of the password, of course, so it doesn't end up working. I'm assuming these are like cooling tubes and stuff. I'm guessing that she has to kind of push through for whatever reason, and at this point struggling very, very hard. But the moment she starts to move one of them, all the others just immediately clear through and get through, which is where I'm assuming at this point is where the coming into the system of just the other members of Nerve and stuff kind of came involved, and this was part of their original intentions and plans, like was for something like this to end up being set off and up, so they're kind of remotely being involved in this. Shinji, of course, being able to put a stop to it, even though he doesn't really do anything, but to everybody else involved, it kind of looks really excellent on Nerve's part for doing things that are really, really good. She even makes note of it here that miracle of us being able to be protected here was set up by somebody, kind of cluing into what's going on here with our three members who are definitely involved in our schemes here of what they're trying to make work. Basically everything went as planned according to them. They didn't expect Masato to jump in and go crazy, but it still worked out at the end of the day for what their purpose and their intentions of destroying the competition, and giving themselves a little bit higher, or having themselves be held in higher praise to many of the others now. And of course we wake up, same morning routine, and she's a little bit back to normal. He's pissed about it at this point, and I absolutely love just his friends kind of letting her know that like him being pissed about these things and seeing her in all these different states and stuff and having a problem with the way that she like holds herself and conducts herself, basically, that's a good thing. Like allowing you to see that side of somebody, the imperfections almost with a person, allowing them to let their guard down almost around you and just see who they actually are, as opposed to putting up this front and wearing this mask and acting as though they are somebody that they're not entirely. And I think that's really cool of them being so aware and so mature almost to be able to realize that stuff in that moment. But that's exactly how it is. And at that point, being able to be called family and the big old smile being able to be put on Shinji's face, I think is perfect, and represents this moment extremely well, because he definitely realizes he definitely has something, right? And he's growing more fond of these other people that are around him. He definitely knows that he's growing this attachment and he's now a part of a family, almost something that he's been missing for probably his entire life at this point, you know, especially how he feels with his father and stuff. So kind of growing a trust almost with this other person, I think is really great. And it's a similar thing that we're, I think, developing, or we started to like hint towards at the end of the last episode, towards the, like, you have somebody, or like you're not alone and stuff when it comes to being Rey, that we end up having somebody else like Shinji kind of come into her life in that moment too. So it's like a similar thing of somebody who feels they have nothing and they're completely left out and there's nobody there for them, while he can be there for other people. And he's firsthand kind of experienced that of telling Rey and, you know, putting himself in those situations. He now has other people who are kind of there for him and view him and care for him and a lot of these different moments. So it's really great. Good development, I'd say, all around for our characters, and realizations on a lot of things. And we also just push the narrative a little bit forward of what the overall, I think, plot and stuff is going to kind of end up being, of us trying to figure out the actual intentions and stuff regarding Nerve and what they're trying to do, and exactly like if they're on a good side of the people or if they're not, and if the other things, maybe they publicly are, but they're definitely not privately. But are the private things that they're doing like things that are going to harm all of humanity, or is it just like as a way of gaining more power and control and wealth over people, or is it like a destructive sort of thing? Like, what direction are we going to kind of go? But definitely interesting to keep a lot of eyes on these characters going forward. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you liked it all, like and subscribe to me lots. Feel free to check out the videos and channel. Let me comments with this better series. We'll be back for the 8th one soon. You guys have a good one though.